All right, turning to our other top story this morning, the Pentagon releasing the identities of the 3 U.S. soldiers killed in a drone strike in Jordan, launched by an Iran-backed militia.
Politico reporting that President Biden is weighing options, which include strikes against Iranian personnel or naval assets.
Mark Meredith is live at the White House with details. So, Mark, these details have leaked out. Is that really smart to let the Iranians know what we might do?
Steve, Carly, and Brian, good morning, friends. Well, the White House says it's not going to choreograph exactly what options it's considering, but you're right, it's kind of coming out in piecemeal. However, the White House also says President Biden is still weighing all of those options to respond to last weekend's deadly drone attack, which, as you guys mentioned, left 3 U.S. service members dead. We are waiting to see what a response may look like, but we are also hearing from Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who says he knows tensions are high all across the Middle East.
I think it's very important to note that this is an incredibly volatile time in the Middle East. I would argue that we've not seen a situation as dangerous as the one we're facing now across the region since at least 1973, and arguably even before that.
The Pentagon has also publicly identified the victims of this weekend's attack. Their ages range from 23 to 46. They are Sergeant William Rivers, originally from New Jersey, but lately a Georgia resident, Specialist Kennedy Sanders of Georgia, and Specialist Brianna Moffett, also of the state of Georgia. The White House also put out a photo on Monday of President Biden in the Situation Room getting updates on what's going on with the attack and response. But when it comes to a formal response to Iran, so far the White House treading carefully.
It sounded like the administration has ruled out strikes within Iran.
Jackie, I appreciate the question. I think you can understand. I hope you can understand. I'm not going to telegraph punches here. We are not looking for a war with Iran. We are not looking to escalate the tensions any more than they already have been escalating. In fact, everything we've done has been designed to try to de-escalate those tensions. That said, this was a very serious attack. It had lethal consequences. We will respond, and we'll respond appropriately.
The White House has said it's still not looking for any sort of broader conflict with Iran, but given the actions of this past weekend, and we've heard from so many lawmakers who say Tehran needs to be held accountable, we'll see if President Biden has a response to those lawmakers or updates on the situation overall. He'll be heading to Florida about 3 hours from now. He's going down for some campaign fundraisers. And later this morning, right here on Fox, we're going to hear from one of the mothers of those brave service members who were killed over the weekend. Steve and Carly?
I saw that the president's going to Jupiter, Florida later on today. So it sounds like when the retaliation starts, Mark, it's not going to just be a one-off. It's going to be one thing over here and something over there.
Right. Well, obviously, they have been trying to piece together the best way to respond to these Iranian-backed militants. It's not like they have just one corporate headquarters that they can strike. The idea is that they're going to have to take out different facilities here. And as you mentioned, Steve, it's possible that this is not just done at one time. But given the amount of attacks we've seen since, mid-October, 160 plus, you would imagine that they've been considering what their response options are for some time.
Mark, thank you so much. And he just mentioned those 165 attacks, Steve, on U.S. troops in the Middle East. And according to Politico, the United States has only responded to 10% of them.
Yeah. And so essentially there are 3 different things. And we heard Jackie ask about, what about a direct strike on Iran? And that was somewhat poo-pooed. Also, you could hit proxy groups, but we've done that before. That's not really going to get much bang for the buck. But the other thing is financial pressure, because even though there are a lot of sanctions, Iran is selling a ton of oil to China. But the administration apparently is reluctant to crack down on the oil flow to China because we're trying to get their cooperation when it comes to Taiwan and stuff like that. And if you cut off the supply of oil from a big country like that, our prices are going to go up. And the last thing Joe Biden in an election year wants to do is see the price of gas go way north.
Well, that's so true. And Senator Dan Sullivan did an interview with Brian yesterday, and he said that under the Trump administration, Iran's foreign reserves were at $4 billion, which is low. Biden enters office. Iran starts pumping oil left and right, and now they're at $70 billion because he took his foot off the brake. So situations like that and what we're facing right now, Steve, lead to quotes like this.
In his memoir back in 2014, former Defense Secretary Robert Gates said this: I think Joe Biden has been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy and national security issue over the last 4 decades. That quote got a lot of coverage then, and it's popping up again. And the hope is, let's hope he does something right this time.
Yeah, but if past is prologue, we all have to keep our fingers crossed, because Brian has some examples that are leading a lot of people to be very nervous this morning, Brian.
Yeah, let's take a look. Was Bob Gates looking ahead to a possible Biden administration and saying that foreign policy is going to be a disaster? He actually said later, I had no idea Joe Biden was actually going to run for president, or I wouldn't have put that in the book. Well, we're dealing with it, Mr. Gates, and once again, you're 100% right. Let me give you some examples. Remember what happened in Afghanistan? He talked about how formidable the army was, and they're as big, and they're going to be able to hold off the Taliban, and there's not going to be any chaos after we pull out and leave. Not only does that not prove true, before we even leave, all our troops are forced into one city in Kabul, in one airport in that one city, and then we hear about a possible terror attack, and he says, look out for a terror attack. The terror attack happens, we get many wounded, 13 lose their lives in Afghanistan, the biggest military disaster in our history. Both General McKenzie as well as General Milley said they did not advise the president that it was going to go smoothly. They told him things could go wrong. He denies it. He said no general ever warned me about this. Remember about the invasion of Ukraine. He watched the troops well up in Ukraine. He did not arm the Ukrainians with weapons that they eventually got once the war started. He told Russia not to invade. They invaded. They're still in there. This is an ongoing war, and it's been so haphazardly dealt with, and this administration's communicated so poorly that now he's having a big struggle getting the financing the Ukrainians deserve to continue to fight off the Russians, who have lost 300,000 in battle and don't seem to care. Remember the famous spy balloon. One Montana reporter looked up in the sky and said, that doesn't look like a recreational balloon. It turns out it was a Chinese spy balloon. We followed it across the country. This president refused to shoot it down, many say because he did not want to mull the relations with China. Instead, he waits to get it over water, and then he shoots it down after they traversed every military base in our country. Pretty much laughable, his decision and lack of caring about what the Chinese are capable of. And remember the Hamas attacks in Israel. 8 days prior to those attacks on October 7th, Jake Sullivan in a conference said, things have never been quieter in the Middle East. The worst attacks since the Holocaust hit the Israelis. We're still dealing with a huge war in Gaza, and the ripple effects have us under fire in places like Yemen, by the Houthi rebels sponsored by Iran, who sponsor Hamas, who sponsor Hezbollah. And this is the same country this administration chose to put an outstretched hand of peace for, thought that they were going to be the ones, they're going to be the linchpin to success in the Middle East, unlike Donald Trump, who thought they were the problem. He was obsessed with doing things the opposite of Donald Trump, obsessed with doing things the way Barack Obama did, and we are suffering the ramifications of that. These are all Joe Biden's decisions. You give him 4 more years, sadly, the worst is yet to come, because this situation is not getting any better, and not many people feel there's anybody in the administration that has the experience and track record to come up with a formidable response.
Well, look, let's see what it is, and it's got to be significant, or else people are going to go, hey, Joe, come on.
Thank you,
Let's see. Stay tuned. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.